Hey you guys, it's Diane and it is time for my Facebook Live. I want to welcome you. Tonight we're going to talk about clean eating on a budget, and then we're also going to talk about how to create recipes when you're trying to eat a clean lifestyle with your nutrition. So again, my name is Dyann and I help women find meal plans and fitness programs to help them look and feel their best so that they can live their most authentic life. So tonight, a little twofold discussion we're going to have. The first thing I want to touch on is eating clean when you're on a budget. And I'm going to give you some tips to kind of get started on the whys around eating clean. And then from there, we're going to kind of go about how to get the food in your house and how to kind of manage what is sometimes believed to be more expensive food because it's healthier, but it doesn't necessarily have to be. And I'm going to kind of share some of our tips and tricks with you. So eating clean when you're on a budget. So the first thing you want to do is define what eating clean is for you, because it is different for everyone, because we all have different needs, we all have different budgets, and we all have different whys for changing our nutrition. So the first thing that you want to do is define what eating clean is for you. And I say go pen and paper, write it out. Try to figure out for yourself what you think eating clean is for you and your family. And then once you get that figured out, then what you wanted to do is determine why it is you want to make this change. So you want to make sure that the reason you're making this change is strong enough that you're going to put the work in to go out and find those clean foods that are going to fit into your budget, and then you're going to be able to manage putting those into your lifestyle and into your family's lifestyle. So the first thing you want to do is define what eating clean is for you. And then the second thing is why. Why do you want to do this? Why do you want to make these changes? And make sure that that why is strong enough that you'll put the work in and the energy in to get this done and to make this change happen for your family. And then the third thing you want to do is make sure that you have your grocery budget set aside. So you want to make sure you know how much money you actually have to spend on groceries, so you can make sure that you're allocating that money, in the right priority. So once you have those things done and you're getting ready to go to the grocery store, you know your definition of what clean eating is for you, you know what your why is for wanting to eat clean, and you have your budget or your money set aside, and you hit the grocery store. Here's some things that we have done in our family. What you want to do when you go into the grocery store is you want to, and this has been a rule forever, is you want to make sure you hit the outer perimeter of the grocery store. So you want to stay on those outside aisles, and you want to make sure you hit the vegetable section first. So you want to make sure that you're loading up that cart and you're taking up that empty space with as many vegetables as you can. They're cheap. They're the thing that you should be incorporating probably in the largest quantity in your nutritional lifestyle if you're trying to eat clean anyway. So hit that section first. Then I say you want to load up on some fresh fruits. And then I would say is you kind of just want to work your way around that perimeter of the grocery store. I know a lot of people want to try to go as organic as possible, and we're the same way. So the things that we do to kind of go organic on the meat side of things is, and we only eat fish and chicken, is we go to Costco and we buy their free range organic chicken there, and it comes in those pre-packaged little things. And then what I do is I take one organic chicken breast and I slice it in half. And there's actually a video on my YouTube channel showing exactly how I do this. And I slice it in half, so I create 4 organic chicken breasts out of 2. And I follow, and my family follows, proper portion sizes for ourselves. So, and that's something that I do in my coaching groups, is I teach you how to eat a right amount of food. So if you're eating the correct amount of organic free-range chicken, it's actually a lot less than what you think you need to have, which again makes that more affordable. So really getting that portion size and the amount of food that we need to eat individually to meet our needs is key to making sure that you're staying within your budget. So as a society, we just generally overeat. And we found in our family that when we reduce the amount of food that we eat, then we kind of open up ourselves in our budget to make sure that we can include some higher quality food for ourselves without having to, break the bank. So you're determining what eating clean is for you. You're determining why it is it's important for your family. So you're going to, have the desire to put the energy and effort in to get this done. You want to make sure you have your budget set aside. So you want to know how much money you have to spend on your groceries. And then you want to hit the vegetable section, the fruit section. And then if you're going to go organic with your choices, then you want to make sure that you're staying within the proper portion for you and your nutritional needs and your caloric intake, so that you're not overeating and then sort of out budgeting yourself from your desires to be eating clean. I am and my husband will attest to this, I am the worst at finding healthy junk food. So I could go into Whole Foods, and my daughter and I did it just the other day. We went into Whole Foods and it was like a field trip for us, and we spent probably $150 and we didn't buy like one whole food there. Like we bought candy bars that were healthy, and we bought potato chips that were healthy, and we bought beet chips that were healthy, and we bought all these really cool little fun clean foods, but nothing that was deemed as like a one ingredient food. So if you're on a strict budget, I also recommend that you stick with one ingredient foods as much as possible. So what are one ingredient foods? One ingredient foods are cucumbers, carrots, tomatoes, green onions, cilantro, avocados. All of those things that separately don't seem so attractive, but when you combine them together can make a really amazing meal. So the second part of what I wanted to talk about with clean eating, when I know it can seem so overwhelming, like what do you do with all this food? How do you make it appealing? How do you make it something that your family wants to eat? And how do you make it affordable? So I just take my one ingredient foods and I dice them up and I throw them in a bowl and I cross my fingers and I hope they all taste good together. And I did this a couple days ago, and I just posted this recipe here on Facebook, and I posted it on our website at parmfitness.com as well. And I called it the beet and green apple salad. And I totally experimented, and I got beets that I bought at Trader Joe's that were already cooked, and I took a green apple and I diced it up, and we had some Parmesan cheese, like a cube in a refrigerator, so I diced it up really small, and I put, Michael, what else did I put in there? So I put green apple, beets, I put some sunflower seeds in there, and then I put the Parmesan cheese, and I put a teaspoon, like literally I measured it out, 1 teaspoon of some Greek yogurt ranch dressing or something. So that was the most unclean thing in there, and that's still pretty clean. And I just tossed it and put it in a bowl, and we ate it for lunch. And it ended up being the most amazing lunch that we could have, and it was all one ingredient foods with the exception of the ranch dressing. And it was the most amazing, refreshing summer salad. I just took stuff and put it together and hoped that it worked. So you have to be willing to kind of do that too when you're trying to eat clean on a budget, is, take some things and throw them together and experiment and see how it works out. And if it works out, then that's kind of your go-to thing. If it doesn't work out, like, no love lost. You just toss it and you don't ever make it again, or you just muck it down that one time and then you move on and you don't ever make it again. So that kind of helps with clean eating on a budget as well. You got to just take that one apple, that one couple stalks of celery, maybe a beet, maybe a few carrots, throw some grapes in there, like just mix it all up and see how it turns out. And that will kind of help you stay on that budget, as well as creating new recipes for your family. Now, another thing that we have just recently incorporated, which we do almost every day, maybe every other day at times, but something that we do is we make what we call a brown rice quesadilla, is basically what it is. And they're brown rice tortillas that I buy at Sprouts, so super clean. There's no gluten, there's no soy, there's no dairy. It's just brown rice, and it's patted down into like a tortilla. And we put a little bit of avocado oil, which I get at Costco, so it's really inexpensive, in our pan. We put the brown rice tortilla at the bottom. We take a little manchego cheese. Yes, manchego cheese is expensive, but if you use it sparingly and in the right portion size for you, you sprinkle a little bit on your tortilla, you let it melt. We put layers of turkey lunch meat on there, or with Gabby, I'll put a little bit of turkey pepperoni on there. We put some shredded spinach on there. We dice up a tomato, we put it on there. We put another little layer of cheese. We put the other tortilla on the top. We brown it, we flip it over, we brown it, and we have a quesadilla. we totally experimented with that recipe as well. Super inexpensive. It's tortillas, it's some cheese, it's spinach, it's lunch meat, and it's tomatoes. So you have to be a little open to trying new things and putting some things together so that you can have what you want nutritionally, stay within your budget, and at the same time create some new dishes for your family. Spaghetti squash is another amazing, super inexpensive, like as clean as you could possibly get for eating, for a dish for dinner. There's a million different ways that you can prepare spaghetti squash. We have made like spaghetti squash boats where we cut a spaghetti squash in half. Spaghetti squash, I think, is a couple bucks a piece, and Michael and I split one. So for $2, we can have dinner. You split it in half, throw a little avocado or olive oil on it, put it in the oven. You roast it for 45 minutes to an hour till it's soft. Then you take a little bit of like spaghetti sauce, you put it on the inside. You can make it completely vegan if you want, or vegetarian. Don't throw any meat in there. We put a little spinach on the top, put a little bit of cheese, throw it back in the oven, let it all kind of melt together. And for like $3, we can have a super, super clean meal for dinner. Kids are having pasta, our dinners look very similar. So you have to be willing to be creative and start with one ingredient foods. So, the big thing that we get caught up in as people, with the desire to eat clean, is we get caught up in the marketing scams. I am probably the most guilty, and Michael will totally agree with this, is I can fill a cupboard full of gluten-free, soy-free, dairy-free cookies, chips. I can buy bags of nuts and trail mix and clean eat, but it ends up being super, super expensive. So when I start going over the deep end with spending money on getting clean food, and I just pull back a little bit and go right back to those one ingredient foods: carrots, spaghetti squash, turkey meat, bacon, cheese, yogurts, all grapes, watermelon. Right now is summertime. Fruit is plentiful. It's everywhere. It's pretty inexpensive. If you can't afford organic fruit, or it's not available where you live, then I don't always buy organic fruits and vegetables, but I do have a really good vegetable and fruit wash on hand, and I spray everything down. If I buy grapes, I spray them down with my wash. I let them soak in the sink. I rinse them off really good. So anything that's going to have, a skin that you're going to eat, just get a really good spray wash and soak your fruit and vegetables, get that pesticides or whatever it is off the surface of them. And then you can kind of stay a little bit more within a budget as well and just use a spray as opposed to having to get organic everything, because I know that can be expensive. So get the organic things that you feel like you just can't, justify going, unorganic. And then like bananas, we don't buy organic bananas, we peel the skin. There's a couple other fruits that are like really, like if I can find organic strawberries, I buy them. If I can't, I just spray them. Costco's another, always a great source for buying things in bulk. If you can, the things that you go through pretty rapidly. We buy tuna fish at Costco because we can get it in bulk, and it is a little bit less expensive that way. The one thing I always say with tuna fish is read your ingredient labels. A lot of tuna fish does have soy added to it, so we know that that's a no bueno thing for us, especially when we're trying to control our hormones and stay within a good weight range. Soy can be that thing that can throw us off the edge. And you can make an amazing tuna salad with one can of tuna fish. You can split it between two people. Tuna fish is $3 or $4 a can. You can add some celery. We just had tuna fish for lunch today. We had a can of tuna fish. We had a very little bit of mayonnaise in it. We had celery in it, green apples, sunflower seeds. I think we had avocado with it, and super inexpensive. The food was already in the refrigerator. We just kind of made that tuna fish spread a little bit by just adding some vegetables to it. So again, you got to just be open to trying some things and adding those really inexpensive one ingredient foods to maybe some of your more expensive foods. The other thing I say about eating clean is, and this goes in with sort of like a fasting kind of concept as well, is don't be afraid to fast sometimes. And fasting could mean basically that you're going to go a day without eating meat. So I know a few years ago I was doing a meatless Monday, and I called it like vegan Wednesday or something like that. So every Monday and every Wednesday I would go meatless, and I would just eat fruits and vegetables and grains. So I usually have brown rice and then a day full of fruits and vegetables. And that really ends up saving a lot of money as well, because you can kind of forgo the organic chicken for a couple days a week. Organic chicken breast is like $4 or $5 a piece. So that's 2 days out of my week. I didn't have to spend that money on meat. And I added in some eggs and maybe a little bit of dairy, so I can keep my protein up. But you don't always have to have that organic meat in or grass-fed meat in your life every single day. It's totally fine to pick a day or two out of the week where you want to just do a little fast from that, give your body and your system a little bit of break, and in the end you end up saving some money as well. One more really good way to save money and eat clean is use your crock pot. The crock pot is amazing for throwing a bunch of ingredients in one place and just kind of letting it simmer all day. Making a really healthy, clean vegetable soup is always a great way to go. Throw a couple potatoes in there to kind of thicken it up and give it some base. Chili is a really good, inexpensive way to go and eat clean. I always just suggest not buying the pre-made like seasoning packs for taco seasoning or chili seasoning. Just I throw cumin, garlic, a little chili powder, maybe a little bit of dried like crushed red pepper in there. It's all you need to make chili. A couple cans of beans, and you can go vegan on that as well. You don't even have to put any meat in there. You can put some ground turkey or some ground beef in there. And a crock pot of chili can last a family a couple of days. I go super heavy on the beans, really light on the expensive meat, and I can make that chili go for a couple days for us. Garnish it with a lot of cilantro and spinach and tomatoes, and again go back to those one ingredient vegetables to throw on top of that chili, and you can fill the chili bowl halfway and fill the other half with some vegetables, and you have a overflowing bowl of chili for dinner to present to your family. So be creative. Make sure that you know what your budget is for your clean eating that you want to do. Make sure you understand why it is important to your family. If you have a strong why, if you're trying to correct maybe some health issues, or you're trying to lose some weight, or you just want to provide food that's better for your family in general, and that why is pretty strong, that will help you determine, what you're willing to spend on your groceries as well. So define what clean eating is for you. Make sure your why is strong. Figure out your budget. Stay on the outside of the grocery store if at all possible. Load your shopping cart up with vegetables first, then add those fruits, and then kind of go the expensive route with the dairy and the meats. And I think that might help you stay on track. Again, a big thing with eating clean and staying on a budget is getting control of the portions that you're putting on your plate. A plate should be almost halfway filled with vegetables, a little bit of protein, and some grains. You want to make sure that you're not loading up that plate with expensive meats and expensive dishes on there, and not getting enough vegetables in your day. So maybe changing that paradigm of how your plate's supposed to look can also help you stay within a budget when you're trying to eat clean. Vegetables are the best thing to put on your plate, and you want to make sure that you're loading that plate up with those. I hope this helped you and gave you some confidence in trying to get a little cleaner with your eating, and knowing that you can stay within a budget if that is really what you want to do for your family. Be creative, be open to trying new things, and don't be afraid to put those one ingredient foods together and create some new recipes for your family. If you would like some ideas on some recipes, I do have a tab on my website, and that's parhamfitness.com. It's called Healthy Family Recipes. I list all the recipes that we use in our house most commonly there, so you can always go there to look for that. Or I post some on my Facebook page as well, and I have some tutorials on my YouTube video, so there's plenty of resources. If you would like some help getting your portions under control, or just trying to figure out where to start with portions for you and the goals that you have, that is what I do as a coach. I help you with that, and we have a program that we use specifically to get you on track. If you would like more information about that, please feel free to email me at at parhamfitness.com, or you can leave me a message here or private message me, and I will get in touch with you about the details about how to get started with the program so that you can get better control of your eating clean, your portion controls, and you can keep yourself within a budget. Thanks so much for joining me tonight, you guys. If you're catching this on the recording, you can always leave me some messages there. I go back and review them, and I can answer them even if it's after I've broadcasted this live. And if you'd like to stay in touch with me for future live broadcasts, please make sure that you have liked this page and have clicked the live notification button so when I go live, you will be notified. Thanks for spending some time with me tonight, you guys. I always appreciate you, and I appreciate your feedback. I will be here again tomorrow night at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. The topic of conversation tomorrow will be eating healthy fat to lose fat. See you guys tomorrow.